Hello and welcome to the Higher Enlightenment Podcast, brought to you by Higher Yields Cannabis Consulting, your seed to sale business solutions team. My name is Adam, part of the creative team here at Higher Yields, and today's episode, number 52, is about the Canada situation, how surplus product is hurting the cannabis industry. And today's special guests are Karan Kapoor and Corey Wagner from Higher Yields Consulting. So let's start with the self-introductions. Let's start with you, Corey.
Hey, Adam. Corey Wagner, CEO and founder here at Higher Yields Consulting.
Thank you. How about you, Karan?
Hi, my name is Karan Kapoor. I am owner of Nighthawk Cannabis Inc. and also I'm owner of Kapoor Consulting Inc. based out in Canada.
Thank you. First, let's talk about the situation. Currently, there are billions of grams of product sitting in surplus in Canada. So what is going on up there?
So this has to be partially blamed on the federal regulations and plus also on the entrepreneurship skills of Canadian people who are involved in the cannabis sector. Unlike states, when the industry started, everybody got licenses. Because it is not like licenses numbers are not capped in Canada. So a lot of licenses were issued since, say, especially after legalization in 2018, a lot more than previous one. And people started growing cannabis. There was this whole, like the Pubco companies who will go big. It was just like a pissing match, let's frankly put it that way. That who can grow big, who can grow more. And what we have seen in my personal experience, the provinces, or as their states in USA, they were not that much ready to take the product in. And then the marketing caps, all those regulations. So basically, it literally created an oversupply of the product, but the consumption was not that much there. So industry literally outgrew the market cap. Another reason is also lack of interconnectedness between the whole cannabis industry, because some people are looking for product, other people don't even know if those guys want product. So that kind of platforms are lacking in this industry here in Canada, where there is so many brokers and most of the brokers don't get anything done. I tried to do that for Nighthawk, never worked it out. Only one or two brokers brought something, and so far I don't think I have made any deal with any brokers so far, though I have very good relations with a lot of them. So this whole oversupply, and then again, the provinces are cutting down the prices so much, they dictate the prices. Like, you don't have your way on the prices. Whatever Ontario Cannabis Store say, or British Columbia store says, you have to go accordingly with that. So this whole situation has become so volatile that you might have noticed a lot of companies are going under. Like, some people are even saying the companies who will make 2023, 2024, only they will survive further. But they said the same thing in 2021, 2022 as well. So yeah, so this is a bit going on here, and this is good for some companies, because a lot of companies are just selling the product just to survive at a very cheap rate. Like, prices that come from $8 in 2016, 17 per gram. Now you can find indoor grown product for 80 cents or 75 cents, big quads in certain cases.
So what is the impact of this on Canada specifically?
A lot of job losses are going to happen, which are already continuing. A lot of billions of dollars has been lost in the industry, especially by the Pubcos. As you might have seen recently, the chocolate factory Canopy Growth bought from that chocolate company Hershey's. Now they have sold it back to them at 53 million. And this is going to happen is what happened in the alcohol industry back in 1960s, 70s. After the war, a lot of local breweries popped up across North America, I believe, after prohibition ended. And then amalgamation started happening, which you are seeing in Canada right now. And seems like the companies which are private, who run a tight ship, they are doing okay, doing well. And the companies which went extravagant across the board, they are going under. Like, Tilray is going towards alcohol industry, Canopy Growth has their own issues. So there's a lot of happening in the industry. A lot of jobs has been lost. It is going to slow down the economy, But I would say this is a corrective action every industry takes over time, frankly speaking.
Yeah.
First, there will be a lot of things, lot of companies. Then some companies make it. Then some companies combine hands, join hands to to work together. Then they amalgamate, become one entity, and try to work again. So I think that consolidation has started significantly in Canada, but still the private players who are not pubcos, those collaborations are becoming stronger. But over time, you will see that there will be a lot of packaging facilities. But when it comes to large scale manufacturing, there will be few companies only. And the craft element, uh, where you have very small growers, they are doing their own thing. Like they only target for the craft product, like high quality product. Some folks are doing really well in that, but some folks are really struggling because prices are too high.
Yeah, and I think overall it's something we're, we're seeing in Canada, but it's in the beginning of the industry, like 2010, 2015, there was a big gap in knowledge of like how to efficiently cultivate product, how to create product. And now with as many programs that exist around the world and the amount of people and technology and investments from some of these vendors and equipment providers into the industry to really drive innovation, we're now seeing, I think, where that knowledge has caught up to the industry, and it's causing these market saturations. And what we talk a lot about with clients is we've always been very efficient in our grow methods. Is we can produce 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 pounds a month, with the right facility, the right budgets, but can we sell it? And now I think groups are starting to get a lot more. They're starting to look at their data a lot more. They're looking to become efficient now, because for a long time they could operate very sloppy, and they could produce for really high rates, and they could sell for extremely high margins. And now we're not seeing that. The margins are much smaller, and you can't continue to produce at the rates they were and sell at these current market prices and expect to survive. So just kind of echo what Karam's saying. There are a lot of people shedding, kind of purging out of the industry, and some of these bigger operators are starting to understand, what their strengths and weaknesses are and how they can team up to, be a better operation overall and consolidate some of these things. And we've seen some of that here in the U.S. with Columbia Care and Cresco Labs last year. So it's definitely it's what we saw here in the U.S. and how these markets matured, and what we're seeing in the international markets is very similar. But a lot of it still comes back to like solid planning, beyond just we're going to grow the best and the most, and really focusing on efficiency and branding, staying compliant, which really helps drive a lot of that efficiency.
One thing I would like to add to that is you are 100% right, Corey, about the efficiency of the production. Because when I started in industry in 2018, the production was really low compared to what we have. And especially with the entrance of the big outdoor grows like myself, like we grew 65 acres this year, cannabis. And we hope to harvest around 150,000 kilos fresh frozen cannabis flower. And the thing is that as the prices are coming low, with the slowdown of the overall economy of Canada, and if I North America, I may say, people don't have that much money to buy fancy weed anymore. So that is also one of the reasons why they are driving the prices down. Like in Canada right now, you can buy an ounce of cannabis probably around $70 Canadian. So it will be like 50, 55 bucks US. My conversion might not be correct, but that is how low the price has gone. And in 2018, I remember to buy like even 1 gram at the retail, like people were paying around $20 to $25 a gram at the start. And these are medical guys. It was just only prescription for medical, because before 2018, there was no recreational one. So yeah, it is just going to become just like a commodity pricing, just like how we have superstores here. You guys have grocery stores there. You have the same milk coming from the same farm but two different brands. I think it is slowly going towards that similar trajectory.
Hey, traditional supply and demand economics matter if you want to develop a sustainable, regulated market selling cannabis. Quality and price have to be better than the black market in our industry, or our industry will never break through. So what do you guys think about that?
The black market's been a really interesting one, because it kind of felt like for a while the legal market was winning in a lot of ways, and people were starting to feel more confident in, having a product that has been created in a commercial facility that is compliant, something that has been tested, and they know what they're putting into their bodies, something that they know, the potencies and the terpene profiles. And we started to see more people gravitating to the legal side because there's really more data, and you can be a lot more specific of, as the consumer, what you're looking for, what you like, how it makes you feel. But I would say, in the last 2 years with Delta 8 and Delta 9, it's kind of created this illegal market, where now when we approach new markets, we have to kind of take into consideration that the state may issue or the country may issue a limited amount of licenses, but how strict are they with Delta 8 and Delta 9? Because people will still go to a gas station and buy weed essentially from a gas station that hasn't been tested, that they know really nothing about. And I'm not sure what how that's gonna all kind of work out, because it is frustrating, especially to these owners and operators, similar to the caregiver laws that they used to have to kind of battle with, where operators could grow a lot of plants, grow a lot of products, sell their product. They didn't have to get taxed. They didn't have to have cameras. They didn't have to have licenses. They didn't have inspections. And so, I mean, it really just drives down their production costs. And now, we're kind of seeing the same thing, popping up with the Delta 8 and Delta 9. So hard to say where, and when the black market will completely go away and for how long it exists. I don't know. Maybe similar to what Karan was saying as far as alcohol, it's kind of the same thing where, people still do kind of small craft brews and small distilling, in their basements and things like that. And, as long as you're not selling it, it's for your own consumption. Maybe that's where that, very small black market exists. But for now, it kind of feels like we were battling it and we were winning. And now there's kind of another pressure from that black market coming to us, that operators are having to try to figure out how to navigate and protect their market share.
I agree with Corey. In Canada, they dealt it with a little bit smartly, I would say. So the government came up with a program called microgrows. So microgrows, you don't need that much investment. You don't need security cameras. You don't need that much cost of operations on that. And a lot of black market people has transferred to the legal framework who did not have, of course, any criminal backgrounds. And the one thing which really, I would say, broke the back of the BC black market, whatever limited knowledge I have got through some conversations with the local people, whatnot, COVID has really killed a lot of black market in Canada. Because earlier, what we have been told is, quite frankly, a lot of weed used to be smuggled, black market weed used to be smuggled to USA in exchange of other drugs or money. But when the COVID restrictions happened, that all stopped. And some estimates would even say that 70,000, 80,000 lights worth shops, black market shops were shut down across BC. It could be even more. It could be 100,000 lights. You don't know, because there is no specific data. And when it comes to the pricing, I can say that at this point, Canadian market is pretty well, very competitive pricing compared to even indoor guys, the black market guys right now. But black market is still around, because some guys who have their niche clients, they will not go to anybody else because they are buying from the dealer for a long time. But overall, I would say Canada is still dealing with this problem, but that micro program has helped them a lot. A lot of black market folks have transferred to the legal industry. But how happy these folks are in the legal industry and how long they will stay, that is a big question. Because where a grower used to make $2,000 a pound in, say, 2010, he's getting like $400 or $500 a pound, or even not even. Like the price has gone so low. So like, as I say, buck a gram, buck 50 a gram, doesn't matter, because it's all about commoditization of the whole industry. And especially with the entrance of the outdoor guys, that prices has gone even lower. So, and some are even organically certified and stuff. So yeah, it will be really interesting to see how it plays out. Probably it might play out the same as USA, that first you see a bit of a slump in the black market, but afterwards it can go up. But there is so many producers here that I kind of doubt that black market will survive for long.
Yeah, what percentage do you think of the market is the black market in Canada and America?
It's really hard to say. Some black market guys say that legal market is only 5 to 10% of the total cannabis industry, which is sometimes a bit hard to digest. Especially, I'm talking about Canada, USA.
Hmm.
I do not know that much, but that is really hard to say because I believe Canadian market was in few $1 billion, $2-3 billion, and even if you say it is 20%, then overall black market industry becomes really big. So those numbers, I don't know how true they are, but some people still like in Ontario black market they say still surviving because recently we see every day like 500 lighter shop got raided, this happened, that happened. uh, so OPP, like Ontario police, is really coming hard on the stuff same RCMP is trying to do out here, but it also depends from province to province. Ontario is a bit more hardened, non-receptive of weed throughout the culture, where BC it was always more like accepted, government never did it. It was just like California, let's put it that way. So BC and California is pretty similar in culture when it comes to cannabis. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out.
Okay. How can other countries avoid a similar debacle?
They have to be very like they need to learn a lot from what happened throughout the history in the cannabis industry and alcohol industry before they pick up anything in the regulations. So Germany, for example, is going really carefully in this. They are navigating very carefully. They are slow in their process. And but again, if they're slow in the process, then the black market there is already thriving in these countries. So it has to be like you cannot fight a black market unless you break their backs with the financial stuff. And that is what Canada is trying to do. It seems like it. Prices are so low that black market people might not be able to compete with it. And it will take few decades to just come out of that whole thing because it takes quite a bit time people to switch their habits over time. And another thing is quite a few of regular cannabis smokers, uh, they always think that the government weed is bad. We don't want to be paying taxes to the government. That is also a little bit of mentality somewhat there in the customers who prefer black market, products. But overall, I would say that first thing is the regulations. Regulation should be business friendly. They should not try to punish people. For example, in Canada, you are just growing a plant. Yes, it has its different impacts, but it is we have to face more regulations than even alcohol industry. We are taxed heavily compared to alcohol industry. A lot of companies shut down just because they were not able to pay the taxes. For example, if you sell some cannabis, more than half of it is taken away by the government or the store guys, and the grower hardly gets. If he's lucky, he might get 15% in his pocket, 15 to 20% in his pocket. So if the taxation is done right, people are provided incentivizing for businesses. Policy is more friendly to grow cannabis, export cannabis, import and R&D. Like if these 5, 6 sectors, I would say they should deal with it in combination together, not like as the separate entities. And they need to have this should be dealt not by like health agencies like Health Canada or somebody like that in other countries. It should be under agriculture because they know how to grow a plant, and it should be dealt with only as a food or nutraceutical. It doesn't have to go to pharmaceutical level because it doesn't impact it doesn't have that much refinement of the product we need.
Mhm. How is the Canada situation affecting cannabis businesses around the world?
First thing is it's hard to get investment. Like people don't like to invest in cannabis anymore. Yes, there you will see always this thing going around of Africa is coming online, they will be big. Then now Thailand is a big thing. They are saying, oh, it will be big. Uh, I think apart from Australia and say some Western European countries, nobody has moved at that faster rate in order to get cannabis, legalized. And the whole because most of these companies are directly or indirectly connected with Canadian businesses. Like there was a big company in Ontario who invested in Lesotho at one time, or they said that they are investing in Lesotho. If you go and see most of the suppliers of the Australian market, most are Canadian companies. Americans can't export at this point because it is illegal at federal level. I'm not sure if THC is, I think, for sure illegal. Corey, you know better if CBD can be exported or not. I don't know much about that. So when the Canadian companies are more stable, then they can be part of a more stable supply chain. So Canada is still, I would say, because they went in legalization first, they are the one of the largest exporters of cannabis in the world at this point. So anything that I would say affects the Canadian industry, it is going to affect directly or indirectly the other industries in other countries as well. When I say other industries, cannabis industry.
So for the future, long term, how can cannabis businesses leverage a situation for their benefit and adopt for the future?
I was just gonna say, one thing that we're seeing is a lot of facilities that are looking to retool, retrofit, really start to pay attention and dive into their data. And a lot of that, just having to do with efficiency, some of it having to do with some of the rebates on energy efficient equipment right now. And some groups just knowing and kind of learning over the years that, maybe just bringing in this guy who calls himself a master grower isn't the best option for us to move forward. And so seeing a lot of people and a lot of groups really go and move towards more of a true system approach. Something we do a lot and really promote here at Higher Yields is, if we put these controls in place and we put these genetics through here and we run it like we did in these other facilities, then we can get a very consistent outcome. Now, there's always variables, to that, but overall, like there's proven data behind it. Versus a lot of the things that we saw for a long time that I think have created some of the issues for some of these inefficient cultivators of trying special things, trying little scientific experiments with no controls, or having 3 or 4 growers come in and they're doing this over here, they're doing breeding projects over there. So it's a lot of people needing to understand what their production costs are, really needing to kind of clean up their back of house. A lot of these businesses have been running just kind of by seat of their pants, and we ask them, what are you producing for, or what is your average yield per month, per light, per square foot, and it's always something drastically larger than what the data actually tells us. So I think a lot of these groups just continuing to prepare themselves to really put the right systems in place, know the time that we're in. And right now it's really weathering the storm, because I do believe in the next 12 to 18 months, things are going to start to bounce back. And that's simply because all of these groups are going out of business. So there's going to be less product on the market. We're starting to see more regulation. A lot of times when you see regulation, you see, prices go up because it's harder to get product to market. And when you see deregulation, which we've seen in a lot of these states, and very progressive deregulation, it makes the barrier of entry very, very easy. And when it's easy, then it's easy to get product to market. And when it's easy to get product to market, everybody wants to do it. So, moving forward, I think operators, it's all about being efficient. And as far as federal governments, state governments, local governments, just being mindful of what a safe and sustainable program is, right? Like we want to make sure public health and safety is always the #1 concern, but also these businesses have to survive. And if you allow too many of them to open up, then they're not going to survive, and you're going to have a lot of bankrupt businesses. And that's, a big part of that sustainability, but also not making it so conservative and so difficult to get involved that, average people don't have the opportunity to live their dreams, or, run through these things. So that's at least my thoughts on things. Karan, what do you think?
You're right, but the overall structure which needs to be supporting the industry is non-existent for cannabis. Let's be very bluntly honest about it. Corey, you might have noticed in states as well, like first of all, there is no academia research going on in cannabis. Like it is going next to nothing. So whatever little bit is happening at the field of like how it affects the humans and all that stuff. We are far, far away to even reach to that point of say detail yet. And there is zero support from academia when it comes to plant science or agriculture side of things in Canada at least. For example, if you go to a university in middle of Saskatchewan, they have a breeding program for hemp, they have breeding program for canola, for peas, for wheat, for everything, but nobody has cannabis. Yes, there is some research who are doing something in Guelph. I believe there was a couple of crops who are doing greenhouse studies and whatnot. But if I say a solid dedicated breeding program for which government funds it, like other breeding programs, that is not. I'm even willing to say that cannabis research in plant science could be even 40 to 50 years behind other crops. Yes, we like when it comes to there is no structured plant breeding happening here. Like, yes, you can go and buy strains and varieties from here and there, but you don't see any complete data on outdoors available publicly. There is hardly any research. Like now, research articles are coming out for cannabis, but not at a scale where you will see for any other crop. That is number one, in my opinion, when it comes to sustainability, because you need a really good product, sustainable product across different diverse regions. First is that. Then second, when you say, I agree with you on the regulations part. Regulations, like I would say, Health Canada has done a great job so far. Yes, there is still tough regulations, but the federal agencies can't do it anything unless the policy change happens, because if there is a because of the political will, if I may say so. The political will because is still lacking, I would say. USA for sure at the federal level, but Canada liberal government came and they were really good. They deregularized quite a bit of stuff compared to before, but still it is very stringent compared to food industry or compared to alcohol industry. Unless those regulations are not like very deep, or it at least create a level playing field. Third biggest problem which we are facing is banking. Banks don't support us. There is no financial institution that supports you. Like, for example, if I want to open a barber shop, I can go to the bank, I will put my plan. They will say, okay, it's a big town, we'll loan you something. Try even opening a bank account. They need so much documentation that you will feel like a bloody criminal if you go to dealing with the banks. Credit unions in Canada are awesome. They are helping out a lot. But because when you have a cannabis account, you get audited way more by the authorities, because all banks go through financial audits and stuff of the bank accounts. And banks can shut down your bank account without notice, without a cause. And now they're not even taking any too many clients on cannabis because they say we get too much audited. For example, I have to pay an extra fee of $500 a month just to maintain my bank account. And I don't think in any other industry they do that. In any banking system, at least in Canada, I have not seen that. And lastly comes trained, good quality workforce. It's really hard to find good work ethic workforce in Canada. That is another big thing the industry is facing, because most of the people who were black market trimmers or working in the black market, some people have good ethic, but majority you will face problems, because where these folks were making $35 to $40 an hour trimming cannabis, or $30, $35 an hour trimming cannabis, normal license holders cannot pay that kind of money. To your point about master growers and other folks, because a cannabis company is just standing on mainly three things: your grower, when it comes to individuals, your sales guy, your quality assurance guy. The sales guy don't communicate with the production people too much because of whatever reason. There is a lot of lack of communication I have seen in the industry here. And then the quality assurance guys are the last one to be informed. Okay, we are going to make this deal, figure it out, how to do the paperwork. So there is also this lack of communication, because a lot of folks who come in this industry, they don't come from, I would say, any business background or professional background, I would say. Somebody was growing dope at home and then say, okay, you know what, I have a money, so let's file the license, hire a consultant. And also all consultants are not that great consultants, I would say. Some people have little bit knowledge and they try to say they have a lot of knowledge. And I myself faced that at the start of my talk when I was trying to engaging with some folks. So Yeah, it will evolve over time because every industry has gone through this. Pharmaceutical has industry has gone through this in late 1800s, early 1900s when the Regs came. Food industry was the same around the wartime when all this whole new innovations were coming of food packaging and stuff. They evolved as well. And I think within next 5 to 10 years, I would say cannabis industry might reach at that point with the help of more schools are coming up who are offering programs for cannabis cultivation, who are offering programs for extraction, quality assurance. So within the next 3 to 5 years, I would say you will see a lot of people coming out of these schools, at least in Canada, who has some basic working knowledge. And then you can train these guys according to your environment in your company to work well.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of opportunities for educational facilities, to start programs.
Oh, 100%. Like in my farm, I have 71 strains growing out of 34 are commercial. Like I believe I have enough genetic material that 5 PhD people can do PhDs there.
Mhm.
But I know it will be really hard for me to get funding from the government for that, and the universities to agree with me to do that PhD program or even master's or bachelor's program.
Mhm.
So that's why, like, even people like me who have a science background, we are also a bit hesitant to reach out because our focus is to ensure the commercialization of our crop. But if institutes want to collaborate, industry has a lot to offer. We just, like, I would say cannabis is just like an orphan child who neither agriculture as a parent is willing to take us, neither pharma industry nor food industry.
Mhm.
So we are somewhere of our own entity, which we were made in Canada.
That's all the questions that I have. Would you guys like to expand on anything or any other thoughts?
It's an interesting time to be in cannabis, and this is the first, like, I think, with all the market compression going on, this is really the first big wave of I don't know, the market becoming very regulated. And so it'll be really interesting to see how people, who survives it, who changes, who doesn't, and who comes out on the other side.
Yep, it is, I would say, the most interesting time I have seen so far in my almost 5 years in the industry. And what our approach here, like whichever companies I'm involved is, try to be best quality and try to be the cheapest on the market. Because of unless the overall economy doesn't get up of each country, like say USA or Canada, as you know, both seems almost going in recession. Unless that doesn't turn around, I would say, yeah, next year and a half, 2 years will be really interesting to see. And I 100% agree with Corey. There will be few companies who will survive, who are running tight ship, and whoever is spending an extra penny, which is useless, which doesn't give you return, they will go under.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, guys, for being on the podcast today. Really appreciate it. It was very informative.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Thanks, Karan.
Thank you, Corey. Thanks, Adam. Have a good day.
Thank you.